and introduce our players. Really needs to take a victory right now if he wants to try and keep his team in this. They really need this. They really need something, you know. They can't just sit back and let FanTaSy continue taking names. He kind of has to take this now. In the bottom left corner of the map, our green Zerg player from Redbloods, HaNfy. Picking Expedition lost, a pretty strong Zerg map. And building a barracks down to the left hand side of the map is our red Terran player from Dignitas Dead Pixels, FanTaSy. And again, when they came into the league, you know, people were kind of scared of Dead Pixels, but I mean, they were definitely one of the top teams, but their players weren't, you know, back in February, their players weren't doing amazingly. You know, they were great players, you know, FanTaSy, Patience, True, everyone was like, oh, cool, you know, they're really strong, you know, it's a really strong set of players, but they weren't super scary. But now, I mean, True just finished top 4 at Gfinity, narrowly missing out on the finals. You know, FanTaSy's been playing better and better, second place at Copenhagen Games, barely missing a round of 8 performance at DreamHack France as well. You know, things have been really kind of, you know, just, you know, Impatience as well has been playing better and better. He's qualified, you know, since the start of the league, he qualified for IEM, he had a very scary run in those qualifiers, and, you know, he's been all over the place. As we see, Proxy Hatch coming up for HaNfy. So, I mean, again, Dignitas Dead Pixels, they've become so much scarier since the start of the league, and, again, currently my favourites to, take the entire league right now. As FanTaSy, I feel as though this is a bit of a build order win for him, but it could also be a bit of a build order loss, because, I mean, well, yeah, because there's going to be a queen here to defend for HaNfy, right? And he can make lings to defend too. There's no real negative effect for him having a hatchery across the other side of the map. In this scenario, apart from the fact that FanTaSy's going to see it very early and he's going to have a lot of timing to do damage with the Reaper. But past that, I mean, FanTaSy doesn't really have anything over here to defend, so that's kind of the downside for him right now. Is he does see that early gas, and you will see that mine away here. Of course, he isn't checking. Well, I guess he will check the natural when he walked past, so you'll know that there's no natural up just yet, as he's starting to pick off these drones. Drones being pulled onto that SCV as well, which is currently still pretty much on full hit points, and just going to try and keep working on that bunker. There's another drone going to go down here, and the Reaper going to have to try and protect. A second Reaper coming in, so this bunker is going to go up 100%, and Spine Crawl beginning to be made. 4 lings being made, both of them over here at home for HaNfy. So again, not really using that hatchery just yet on the other side of the map. I'd love to see just a couple. I mean, I guess there's a couple of seconds really going to do much, maybe not. That bunker feels as though it should have a lot more health on it right now. It feels as though FanTaSy maybe slipped up with that a little bit, as a couple of lings do get down to the low ground here. That Spine Crawl continue to take a little bit of damage, and lings again just buying a little bit of time, which is all they really need to do. We don't see a third Reaper being added on. We do see a factory and a completed wall. In fact, we do see a third Reaper. Sorry, so it's already finished production when I said that. And the fourth Reaper starts in production too. As the wall is completed for FanTaSy back at home, so I mean, these couple of lings aren't going to do anything at all. And of course, the original plan with this hatchery is probably to try and break through these back rocks with some Spine Crawls, etc. Biol style. But, you know, so far it doesn't look as though that's really the case here. We do have a transfuse almost available on this queen, which is going to help keep this Spine Crawl alive, but just denying gas mine right now. This factory is still on its way up, and once a single Hellion comes out here, I mean, these lings are not going to be able to do anything at all. 4 Reapers now for FanTaSy over in his opponent's mineral line, and just continuing to slowly pick away at anything and everything he can get at right now. He's Reapers coming forwards here once again. A bit of a poke coming in from that Spine Crawl, which has been transfused up. A lot of lings out now, and I wonder if he does just salvage. Well, he will salvage this bunker at some point in the near future. As the first Hellion again is about to come out, and we will be able to turn these Zerglings away, and there it is. So HaNfy going to have to turn away with these right now, as these Reapers still trying to get whatever damage they can done. 6 workers killed, 5 of them in total now. Of course, they can't jump out these back rocks, so they'd have to come out this way if they want to escape. And I mean, HaNfy, if he wanted to, could probably, as he picks up a Reaper kill, could probably move that Spine Crawl a little bit closer, although I guess if he unburrows it, these Reapers are going to be able to start working their way against it nice and quickly. So Reaper's just sitting in this bunker. We see lings on the way back, and again, I mean, these Reapers just moving around, and I mean, what can HaNfy really do? Not much, in all honesty. These lings get speed now, and I mean, that gives him a little bit of a bonus because he can move across the map, but I mean, he doesn't even have the gas mine to go into Banelings or anything, and these Reapers just dancing around these Zerglings. He's going to lose one core on the outside this bunker, but even still, he's going to trade off so many Reapers for these Zerglings. He's even going to get the salvage on the bunker here. And, I mean, yeah, he's just going to get, like, so many Zerglings still, and it's been so effective, this harassment. Of course, back at home, Hellions are on the way up, so these Lings aren't going to be able to do lows. There's no natural expansion for HaNfy, because it's, you know, positioned halfway across the map. And, well, look at this, FanTaSy just builds another Reaper, and with the next Reaper, he's actually going to be able to pick off another drone kill. Just another little cute addition here as he's going to run away with this, just drag the Queen out of position if possible. Another Hellion on the way up, and again, where does HaNfy go from here? FanTaSy, I mean, he's in a fairly standard position. He's actually got a Banshee on the way up, lacking a command center, but that's something he can add on. You know, what does HaNfy do? He's lacking the natural. He's going to lack production from that. He's making a couple of spine crawlers here, and I mean, he's kind of going for this bust through the back rocks, just, you know, a little bit later than you would really expect him to. But I mean, what's he going to have to defend these Hellions? A spine crawler, a Queen, and he's got very few Zerglings. And these Hellions, they could just run into the main base, loop around the spine crawler, and then he's in trouble. I mean, even the Cloak Banshee has potential to do a lot of damage here, as the first Banshee's already out and starting to work its way against these spine crawlers here. And FanTaSy has run by into the main base now. We'll look for some drone kills here, and well, he's going to get turned away by the Zerglings. In fact, the Zerglings going to get quite a bit done. FanTaSy's still going to be fairly happy just trading off, I imagine, but no worker damage, so HaNfy kind of keeps himself alive here. I say no worker damage, I speak too soon as the drones start to get pulled in towards these Hellions. HaNfy's actually only at 12 drones right now. This Banshee is still working away back on the other side of the map on this, actually on the Queen now. Spore are going to come into position as well, so just trying to help out a little bit. I mean, the Spore are necessary if he wants to keep this base alive, otherwise the Banshee would just work its way against it. Barracks can come and land back into the main base here as this Banshee is slowly working on this hatchery now. Again, the Spore can't cover everywhere. That Queen's on such low hit points, it can't really afford to fight either. It's a little bit of a tough position right now. We've seen another spine crawler being made, and I mean, he's actually mining with a drone here. Of course, this hatchery is far misplaced from being able to optimally mine, so second Banshee coming out as well. I mean, Cloak's still on the way, Hellion's still being made. I mean, there's just so much here which is just not going to go well for HaNfy. You know, whenever he actually decides, whenever something significant really happens here, we've seen army on the way. I mean, FanTaSy just going to keep building Hellions. He can morph them into Hellbats, kill off this hatchery with those, and I mean, what else is going to happen? We see the Cloak coming in from Banshee, and now Spore isn't in position. And this is kind of a slow, painful death for HaNfy. He's going to lose this hatchery. And I mean, was this hatchery really helping him at all? I mean, I gave him a bird production. Was it really going to change the game? I don't think so. He's now supply capped 28 over 26. As FanTaSy moves across the map with a couple of Banshees, third tagging along behind, and a bunch of Hellions, which are in a couple of seconds going to have the ability to morph into Hellbats on the completion of that armory. And still no natural expansion here, so these Hellions are just going to stand back for a moment, morph into Hellbats, or are they? Nope, Lings are going to try and come down and catch them. FanTaSy is paying attention to them at the right moment, and we're going to start roasting those away. At the same time, the Banshee's just working away in the main base on a spine crawler or whatever, and again, these Lings are not going to be able to achieve too much here. 4 Hellions remain, with the spine crawler taken down. GG called, and that will be it. FanTaSy takes Dignitas, Dead Pixels to a 3-0 advantage now in this.